So let's go ahead and dive right into these chakras and how they connect. Now, of course, for those that are adept on the line, they already know a lot of this, but there are people here that are not aware of these things, so we want to make sure we're completely cohesive since we're starting off below the base of things, building this foundation. So, of course, many know that the chakras, go ahead.
And also, brother, everyone has something to say about chakras, so I know we're going to deliver it real clear and concise.
Absolutely. As clear as concise as possible is to see that the chakras are like the planets in the cosmos. There is more than 7 chakras. And as you see here on the charts, you have several points in the body that actually could be perceived as stars or planets, some being primary, some being secondary, and some in development. Just like chakras, you have primary chakras, secondary chakras, and chakras that are being developed. Chakras have a tendency to develop in certain age ranges, and this is why there was a profound system in the past of 7 stages to where the chakras were developed in a color system. And then as you went through that process, you would experience different things, and they try to generally iconize what you would experience in an image. Those images later on became known as the pictures of God. Okay, so in these images, let's say the ones that we're looking at right now, you're seeing the real God, who is humans. And they have inside of their body these clusters, these nucleuses of power that when activated and turned on and spin and begin to, when they begin to spin or work in conjunction with one another, they create what we just highlighted before about the siddhas, but you start from the beginning. So you could start seeing here again with another image that you have, again, these chakras placed inside of your body. And they can be seen, as we even say, the keymakers. The keymakers originally arise from the idea, because the chakras have these very unique geometries inside of them, of finding a unique key to unlock that chakra, to unblock it, to keep it from being stuck. And now that we put an S on keymakers, that's more about the people that we're going to be bringing into the show that are also going to be highlighting some of the things that we talk about that have a greater profession in these areas, so we can keep drilling in. So in conclusion, as it's stated, the chakras are actually inside of the human body. Some of them are activated, some of them are dormant, some of them activate based on age, some activate based on herbs, some activate based on experience, conditioning, etc. But when they do activate, especially in conjunctions with others, they bring you into a greater stage of awareness. Is that good? Good on that?
Yeah, that was lovely. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and just the opportunity to bring forward or present, how we can really internalize this.
For sure. Well, I guess the greatest level of the realization of our internalizations of these powers is actually in what the New Age community has at least caught on to today, which is the acts of the meditations, the acts of, working on non-judgment. I think my entire body of work for the last decade has really been about activation of chakras, but we can see that it doesn't always entail just such direct application. It could be something that is hidden. It could be something that you need to experience, some place you need to go to activate these certain centers. So, rather than exhausting the topic itself, which we can have other space to do, it's just a sheer awareness that there are power centers inside of your body that are responsible for even why you can stand up. Like right now, we have a field that is moving around the body rapidly that makes it very easy for us to stand up. And anytime that you've been in a deep meditation, you'll notice that even if you lean back a little bit, you almost start feeling like you're brushing against some kind of field that's moving around the body. Some that have prayed extensively or honored extensively, notice the body will naturally start doing this. Some cultures actually do this on purpose just to try to bring about that same change. Same thing with the whirling dervish, right? They spin and spiral like the cosmos in order to activate certain alignments within their consciousness and to spin straight. So you can imagine when you have that huge, and I don't know what it's called specifically, so I don't want to disrespect it by calling it a dress, but when you have that bell on, if you may, and you start spinning and that thing gets going, and then you're now into that perfect position, you start to spin like a top. And the more that you do that, it's just like any kind of dynamo. It starts bringing other parts of the system online. So that's what we're talking about when we're saying, you know, how these chakras are used and how they work in conjunction with what we're doing, but also how mystical they are, because although they're present, we have a tendency to not see them or recognize them. And one more final thing is about how the chakras connect to the organs, because if we miss that, then we kind of miss like one of the major components that ties it all in for those that are not aware of this knowledge, and that's your organs, which are named appropriately. If you know, in the church, they play the organ, it makes the sound. Your chakras all play a specific sound that allows them to do what they do in the transitions of your body, the processing and things that need to go on in your body. So what sickness is when that organ is no longer playing harmonic with the orchestra. And then it also begins to drag down the rest of the chorus by playing off tune. And then other organs are forced to try to compensate for the lack of performance from that particular organ. So also, listen to these metaphors because they work in different aspects of life, because they're maxims and ultimate truths. So let's just say that again, when a chakra fails, disease ensues. Lack of awareness ensues. And this is the connection between our organs in our body, which are seen metaphysically as the planets, and the chakras inside of our body, the tones that they play, humanity being themselves singing a song or in an orchestra together, even if some are off tune. And then the ability of being able to use things like tuning forks, mantras, vibrations, tones, ra, ma, like being able to tune your chakras, if you may, like you would tune your own self like an instrument.